Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story. It's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Doesn't that just give you warm, gushy feelings? It does to me. Welcome, everybody. It is the time for the Daily Dish. Yay! Are you with me? It's Transformational Tip Tuesday. Mother hen, there you are. It's so good to see you. Cheers. And Flynn, thank you. I'm glad you like the new intro. Chris, you too. Catherine, isn't it fun? It is so fun. I mean, we love it. And of course, a hat tip to our lovely Amber, who just absolutely knocked it right out of the park. So we just love what she's done. Lisa, Diane, and Tracy, good to all have you here. Trisha and Alice, you too. You know, we have quite the thing going on, by the way, in the distribution center. We found a couple of cases of B complex. It's got an expiration date on it for next month. But guess what? Hey, Jane, good to see you. Trisha, lovely to have you here. Angie, Tracy, look at you all. Anyway, so guess what, though? Supplements are good for past their expiration date. You can find this at savingdinner.com/show. And I would stock up if I were you. I mean, /sale. Sorry. Did I say that wrong? I did. Saving Dinner /sale. Beverly, where have you been? It's our blowout sale. We just want to get rid of this stuff because I can't sell it with the expiration date on like that, even though it's good for 2 years past. You know, I'm not the only one who's saying this. This was a doctor from, I think, Cedars-Sinai said this. They're just fine. Nothing wrong with it. So if you want to take advantage of this amazing sale, go to savingdinner.com /sale. That's where we're putting it all. And it's flying out the door. When this is gone, it's 2 cases, y'all. So, you know, about 100 bottles. When this is gone, it's gone. So do not delay in getting it, because if you come back and say, give me more, I'm going to say, sorry, it's gone, because it will be gone. This is what it looks like. Good stuff. By the way, I will always say, because my son just called me and he said, Mom, I just took the B complex. I've just got, I've got little red bumps all over me. I feel really weird and all this. And I said, Ma, honey, I know. It's the B complex. It's a niacin flush. Oh, I didn't realize that. Some people get it. Some people don't. I get it. So that's how that works. Hey, Sue, glad you're here. So you might be one of those people that you just get the niacin flush. It's uncomfortable, but it's, you know what? It's working. Just remember that. Corliss, hi. Lily, also here. So we have all of that. And all of our, don't forget to check savingdinner.com /announcement for all of our details. We are also now live on TikTok, as well as being live here on Facebook. So Facebook and YouTube. So welcome to everyone. Doris, nice to have you here. Everybody, I see you. I'm going to call you out and say hello because, that's me. I love being friendly. And to everybody on TikTok, welcome. It's so nice to have you here. It's hard on TikTok, though, because you get their, screen names, and sometimes it doesn't correspond. Here, I get your full name, so it's a little different. But anyway, it's delightful to have you here. Don't forget, go get those B vitamins, the B complex at savingdinner.com /show. This is the breakdown. Buy 1, it's $7. Buy 2, it's $6. Buy 5 or more, it's only, or buy 3 or more, it's only $5 a bottle. I mean, it's just crazy. Savingdinner.com /sale. That's where you're going to find that. Okay, so I've told you all of that. The announcements are at savingdinner.com /announcements. And now we have a show to do. Are you ready for that? Hi, Gracie. I'm glad you're here. So this whole week, we've been talking about turning mountains into molehills. Now, you've heard about turning molehills into mountains. I'm talking about flipping it around a little bit. Bear with me. It's worth it. Okay. Are you ready to kind of go there with me a little bit? Terry, Martha, so good to have you here. This is going to be worth talking about. Beverly, you're 66 today. Happy birthday, first of all. Number one. Number two, this is going to be especially pertinent for you. This whole what I'm talking about today. Okay, because if you're 65 and you expect to live to 80, you've got 15 years left. Okay, and I know that's kind of a gross thing and kind of a weird thing to be talking about on your birthday, but Beverly, I had no idea it was your birthday today. This is my content for today. Okay, but this is important. This is important because how do you want to live those 15 years out, right? Or if you want to go longer, I mean, whatever. This is getting really granular about life expectancy. Who talks about this stuff? Well, there's a guy named Oliver Burkeman. He is the author of 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals, and he doesn't pull one single punch. It's eye-opening and will make your eyes water. Promise you on this. He says, if you really want to get granular on that whole thing, though, too, and we're talking about the 15 years, you have 780 weeks. 780 weeks. So what does 780 weeks look like to you? Because the whole thing is, and again, Beverly, my apologies. My whole thing wasn't like, oh, let's talk about such, things on your birthday. This is part of my whole thing. Oliver Burkeman has said that, we have every single person on this planet has an expiration date. We do. We are handed a life sentence the minute we take our first breath. As soon as we take our first breath, the clock starts ticking. And we start living in what's called the dash, right? You've seen a tombstone, the date you were born and the date you died. And in between it is this dash. That's your whole life right there in that little dash. So we know how much time we're going to be given. We have no idea if it's going to be a long one, a short one. We have nothing. And anybody who's ever lost somebody unexpectedly, you know exactly the preciousness about that, right? Here's one thing, though, that we do know about, okay? And that is every single one of us have been called into this life on purpose, for purpose, and for a big purpose. Otherwise, what is the point of being here in the first place? And once we really start to get a grip on the preciousness of the time we have, then we need to take a sobering look at how we spend our time's currency. Don't you think? So are we spending it wisely? Are we frittering it away? Are we just wasting time? Worse, killing time. Is that what we're doing? That's what we have to look at. We have, we talk about the Hot Melt Sprint. Y'all know about the Hot Melt Sprint. We've been doing the Hot Melt Sprint for 3 years now together as a group. Once a month, a big 7-day challenge, absolutely free. And it's life-changing if you take it on. Ask Tanya. She knows. She takes it on. And we have to look at inflammation when we're dealing with going on the Hot Melt Sprint, because one of the big eradicators, the reason that we have this whole thing in the first place, is to eradicate all that inflammation. So we talk about it in our bodies, what creates it, how it impedes a vibrant life, how to correct it, and hopefully get to the place of actually healing it. So here's what the dictionary says about inflammation. Now listen to this definition, because it'll change your mind on a few things, I think. Inflammation is a prolonged inflammatory response that involves progressive change. It is characterized by the simultaneous destruction and repair of the tissue due to the inflammatory response. So, in other words, chronic inflammation. But there's two different types of inflammations. Chronic inflammation, there's regular inflammation that happens when you get injured, for example. So you get a bruise or you bleed and you get a cut and it's tender and sore, and there's inflammation there. It's doing work to fix and mend. And then the inflammation is gone and then we're done, right? That's how that whole thing works. Well, if you are in a place of chronic inflammation, then you are in both simultaneous destruction and repair at the same time. So in other words, if you set your house on fire, tell me how well it's going to build. Just tell me how well that house is going to build. Not too well. So if we're trying to do that, it's not going to work out for us really well. I mean, we're going to be basically treading water if we're lucky, or even going backwards to some of that different way. But when we have we're talking about an inflammatory response, this is what it is. Because listen to me for a minute. So many of us are living in an inflammatory way every single freaking day. With their food, with the fact that they're sitting on their butts all day, just stagnating in their own fleshy skin, right? With toxic thoughts, with hobbled relationships that are narcissistic and not feeding each other's souls, and consistent with an inflammatory problem, right? A job that's horrible, a boss that just is a nightmare to work with, awful coworkers who stab you in the back and take away your ideas and all. I mean, that's all inflammatory, y'all. It's all inflammatory because the response is inflammatory. The response is inflammatory. So if we're living our lives on a daily basis in a constant chronic inflammation on all sides, in all factors, what kind of a life are we living? Is it vibrant? Is it the life that we want? Is it the life that we want to, we can't wait to wake up to and have? Or is it a life that is just shrouded in pain? Shrouded in all, and when I talk about pain, I'm talking about the physical pain, the emotional pain, the soul pain that you feel from living in constant chronic inflammation. So remember when I said, if you live a full life, you're going to live 4,000 weeks, right? And if you're 65, that means that you have 780 weeks left. Well, are you willing to live the rest of your life, the last 780 weeks in chronic inflammation? Are you? In a body that's become a burden, in a job you dread and hate, in relationships that absolutely zap the living stuffing out of you, no energy for anything, in your thoughts just bring you further and further down, and you have this continuous negative loop. Is that an idea of how you want to spend the last 780 weeks of your life? Oliver Burkeman said, resisting a task is usually a sign that it's meaningful. Interesting, right? Resisting a task is usually a sign that it's meaningful, which is why it's awakening your fears and stimulating procrastination. You could adopt, do whatever you're resisting most as a philosophy for life. So ask yourself this question, which I think is really important. Is this mountain in my life worth it? Is this molehill worth it? Are you creating a molehill into a mountain or a mountain into a molehill by not attacking it? So ask yourself that question. Am I making this something bigger than it needs to be? Or am I not taking it seriously enough? What's my part in all of this? Am I taking a wholehearted responsibility for myself? Or just blaming it on fill in the blank? Family genetics, your husband, your job situation. You can blame it on anything. But if you're not taking a wholehearted responsibility for yourself, maybe you're the one that's taking that molehill and making it into a mountain by pretending it doesn't exist. Just a thought. When we spend our precious time making mountains out of molehills, when we're living in chronic inflammation, heart, mind, body, and soul, guess what? The clock is still ticking. It doesn't stop. It doesn't care if you're in denial. It doesn't care if you've decided that you're not going to deal with it. It doesn't care. You know why? Because time marches on. It waits for no one. And those weeks are just going to fly by. It's 1 week, and then the next week, and then the next one after that. And your life, by the way, is infinitely more precious than to live it in chronic inflammation. It just is. I don't know about you, but pain is not my friend. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And I'll do anything that I can to not have it. But when you are riddled with pain, heart, mind, body, and soul, that is chronic inflammation. And this is exactly why we need to look at the clock and understand that the clock allows us to see things in a way that is real, because the clock does not stop for anyone. Scott Peck said this: until you value yourself, you won't value your time. Until you value yourself, you won't value your time. Until you value your time, you won't do anything with it. Life is way too short to not live your life in full bloom. Do you agree with that? I think that's probably one of the biggest statements ever, because living life in full bloom is where it is at. That means you're living your life, heart, mind, body, and soul, vibrantly, all the way around the block. And that, my friend, is my prayer and my wish for you. You don't have to settle. Never settle. Always look for the best, because you deserve it, because you're here on purpose and for purpose. Okay? Are we in agreement on that? Pinkies up. I love you all, and I really appreciate the fact that you show up and that you're here, and everything about you is just lovely. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wise Women's Wednesday. So, I mean, are you going to be here? I sure hope so. See you tomorrow, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, Facebook, and on TikTok. Pinkies up. Love you all. Peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.